Hello, hello, hello. Happy Thursday, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Good morning, Martinez. Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Jacob. PTO. You mean PTP? At least it's not the PTA. Well, hey, options 22, Mike and gangsters. We have gangsters here? Can we take a look at AMD if we have a moment? Okay, we'll see what we can get to today. Busy day numbers so far. So ECB hikes, hinting that it might be enough to tame inflation, but they're still open to further increases. Oh boy. So that's out of the way. And when we get the Fed meeting next week, we had the core PPI jumping. The PPI jump in the numbers, month over month coming in line, but the core PPI, or which one? The headline PPI jumped 1.6 versus 1.2, not the core. Core coming in basically as expected. The headline one jumping. Retail sales. What's interesting is retail sales jumping 0.6, but if you strip out gas and autos, it's down. So most of this was due to higher gas prices, the jump in retail sales. So not necessarily a strong consumer, a consumer having to spend more on gas, which we've clearly seen with the rising gas costs and oil going up. What else do we have today? What else do we have? Not much. At 9 a.m., you have business inventories, so minor number. Expected to be up a little and then really nothing. And tomorrow, we're lining up for consumer sentiment, Empire State Manufacturing Indexes, import and export prices, industrial production. But a quieter day tomorrow. It'll be interesting to see the consumer sentiment. So far this morning, the mega caps sort of leading the rebound, Nvidia bouncing back. We talked about that with the double and the lower probability yesterday. I will be watching for the rollover here. We just got it refreshed. Oops. Oil still very, very strong, but looks like the market besides Visa running up this morning so far. Basic materials, energy, consumer cyclical leading it. The charge higher than comm services. Nothing's really changed with next week is still pretty much baked in for the complete pause, and these still aren't climbing. November, December, still not climbing that much. So the markets at this point don't think that Fed's going to hike at all. Fear and greed still in neutral mode. In terms of earnings, nothing really this morning. Adobe's what I'll be keeping an eye on at this afternoon, but they're really a 1 hour possibly from the new home perspective. But that's about it. And tomorrow there is nothing. Nothing. All right. Can we take a look at Apple? Let's see if we got some time. Am I correct in understanding a double top or bottom forms when retracing is somewhat between? No, it can. The minimum is the 75, Richard. The minimum is the 75. The probabilities go up when it hits the 87, but the minimum is that I will do is 75. That qualifies. If it does not hit 75, it's not a double. If it does, it's potentially a double. Remember, it does not ever have to confirm or trigger. So, morning, Alan. All right. So here's what we're sitting at. We have the little mini double on the S&P, which is now confirmed because we've broken above the high from Monday. The official trigger would be if you're trying to play this intraday, yeah, it could be traded on a break above there, but the only way I'd hold it from my perspective would be if it continued and followed through with a close. If it closed back in this range, would not be looking to hold. Especially on the daily, you'd have to trade it really. So you can confirm it on the 4 hour. This is still one side. This was a mini double. You can have a mini double within a bigger double, by the way, because this is still the left-hand side of a bigger pattern. And it is valid on the 4 hour. The daily, if you're wondering, the daily, the second and third target go into the wicks. So keep that in mind. But the second target is barely still in on the 4 hour, so it can be traded on the 4 hour. That's how we set up the rules, or I set up the rules and did the testing with it. So that's where we set key support that I'm watching for is coming in at about 45.30. And then below that, you see this is very key. Let me drop down the lower time frame. You see yesterday a ton. Look at all the buying pressure down here. Look at all the buying pressure, even in the afternoon. So it rolled over. You had the morning buying pressure with the CPI numbers. Every time it dipped into here, you had the morning buying pressure. And then it rallied up. It rallied up. So that's the key area that I am watching for. That is the key area I'm watching for if we do dip lower. But you see earlier today, the little at the PPI numbers and retail sales, a little dip, 45.27, 45.28, 45.30. That's if we do dip in the open, that's where I'll watch for if we roll over. Remember, trading against key support. So the double is confirmed, but not yet triggered because it needs that 4-hour close. All right. And then the targets. The targets, first, I would really not ignore about 45.55 and then 45.67 and then about 45.80 to the upside are the major targets. All right, so that's where we sit now, and we still have a potential double within a bigger double. So we have probabilities still forming higher. Probabilities aren't guarantees. We still have the daily cycles climbing, and we still have the weekly cycles climbing, but it has not made a lot of progress since hitting the first major double target last week. But we still have cycles going up, so we're going to have to see. NASDAQ have a silly triangle triangle pattern. Can't speak this morning. 15,675.25 is very key resistance. So if it's going to break out, that's what I am watching for. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I just got to check something. Let me just check something. All right. I got today is another super nut crazy day for me. 15,675 is the first area. We don't have a little mini double. We still have the bigger double in play with the NASDAQ, but that's the area I'm watching. And then it slams still in the 15,700 to 15,725 resistance. In order for the NASDAQ to get a lot of traction, it's got to start getting above 15,725 and with some momentum. In terms of the buying pressure in there, you can see from earlier today, the European Open time frame and the PPI numbers, any dip below about this 15,590 to about 15,570, there's a lot of buying pressure in here. I get worried if it rolled over and started breaking below 15,570. Then we could test easily some of the areas from yesterday's dips. So keep that in mind. Otherwise, I'm really focused on to see how it reacts near Monday's highs. The Dow, there's not much to talk about. It's still in the triangle pattern. Key resistance 15,150. We break above there. My next key area is 35,150, then 35,350. Support is coming in about 34.9. Russell, which I had the contract rollover yesterday, still holding the key support. I'm watching for any rollover plays after any bounces here. It's trading against some pretty significant support, 1877. If we do get above there, 1891 is key for me with cycles turning up. The VIX, absolutely no fear in the market. Absolutely nothing at all. Again, same levels are holding. I will sit up and take notice, and not just for today, 1481. This is a very key support area, so it looks like we could be selling volatility again and rotating into some riskier assets, especially some of the mega caps. So watch out if those mega caps really start getting, it could be the vol funds selling vols and rotating into mega caps, which are pretty much driving, still in charge right now. The DAX, not much. This is just shot. Again, the buying pressure in the DAX is anywhere below this 15,600. If that 15,600 breaks, watch out. Key resistance is 15,831. Other than that, it's just short-term patterns. The notes still bouncing. Next area key resistance, if it falls through the upside, is 110.28. And the buying pressure coming in about 109.18. But there's no fantastic setups just right now, just yet. Gonna be watching. Want to check something out. So would this qualify as a very sloppy double to the whole move? Yes, it would. We'll keep an eye on that. Did I get to the right peak? No, I didn't. There we go. Yeah, that still qualifies. Yep. So we'll keep an eye, but it would need a close above 111.12.5. The 10-year, still you have the massive double top that's nowhere near triggering yet. That doesn't have to. Remember, this could turn into a horizontal channel, but keeping an eye on that with the rollover. 10-2s now back rolling back down. So the bear steepening is getting taken off the table again. Dollar index spiking up. Spiking up. Let's see. Still potential double in play. Still lower potentiality, lower probability potential double, but little spike up and then dropping back. There's some very major resistance up here, back from February and March. So this is hitting a very major resistance. Remember, daily cycles are potentially getting to the bottom, but weeklies aren't anywhere near that. So this really, in order for me to really start getting interested in the bigger pullback with the weekly cycles at the top, we'd have to at least trigger that double. Crude, we got the one-day pause, looking a little toppy, as I said yesterday, and then trying to break higher. Next key area is 90.70 to 90.97. But crude still marching higher. Highest it's been since last November. Last November. This could be really starting with some more sticky inflation ramping up. Again, if crude does not start pulling back, and we've been bullish for a little while now, so still watching for some higher prices, but we'll be paying attention to when the weeklies start topping and rolling over, and it's getting closer to overbought. So we could easily still see the major intermediate topping areas back from this top back in October and November of last year. So pay attention. We're closing in on that. Natty gas back to key resistance. I'm seeing if it can finally get a break. It's chipping away at this 281 area. So going to be paying attention if it finally gets through there. Gold, nothing yet. Still has the potential. No, that's off the table. The mini double is off the table as of now. So nothing with gold just yet. Nothing with gold. So I don't have anything keeping an eye on just yet in gold. Let's jump to the 10-year. JGBs keep climbing. It's got a little sloppy mini double top, but not even going to bother with that. Yen consolidating. Again, same area. I'm paying attention to the daily rotation zone if we close below that, and also this key support level. Other than that, it's just, from my perspective, trailing. Still the key target, unless we get that bigger pullback, is still 148.85. Euro, little sell-off and a holding here, but holding against some major support. No great pattern setup just yet in the euro. There's not a lot of great patterns going into the end of the week. Pound, still holding the 200. Nothing much there. Let's get to some stuff that might matter. Spiders, 449.15 pre-market. 448.50 to 448.60 is a very key support level should we pull back. 450.33, first target to the upside, 451, then 452.89. If you do a little forward harmonic off of here, we can see, look at this. If you need an intermediate level, it's roughly where it's opening. Well, just below. If you're doing something, I'd pay attention if you're more of a scalpy sense, 449.52. But look at how the first level is reinforced. 450.28, 450.33 is a level I would not ignore based off the harmonics. And the first, again, the already hit double pattern. But that would be a very key level. Again, if it breaks below the 448.50 area, then 447.75. And then you have still a gap fill down to 446.51. The Qs 376.20. About 376 is key support. If you start breaking below that, we could be getting the gap fill back to 374.21. To the upside, there's some pretty significant resistance around 377.55. And then we're hitting about 379.15. If we put on the little dip harmonics here, 379.15 to 379.58. So right in the first target we already hit in the double was 379.82, so 379.58 to 379.82. So there's a fair amount of resistance up there. It really needs to plow through, again, that 379.82 before it can get some real traction. And that's not just for today. Where else? Let's peek at Tesla real quick. Not much. Still, it still has probabilities higher. Is this a little mini double? I did not even look at this earlier today. Not yet. See, it has not hit. This would need to rotate back up above 275.44. And then come back down below the low, this low. So it is not a double yet. So, but there's nothing other than that. It's still got because it's closed above the 62.5, it's still got some upward bias tendencies, and you still have a magnet. And if we still get rotation into mega caps, watch for that. Nvidia holding the 50. Remember, this was the upward close on the double we talked about, which was a lower probability. We use downward closes for double tops. So, but I'd still be watching for a rollover play. There is a gap left behind, too. If Nvidia can get some more traction, it could be interesting if it does get this gap fill back to 470.61 and starts rolling over again. It could be an interesting play and front run a potential downwards move again. What else do we have? I know we had some let me get back to some stocks. Let's see. AMD, I know I didn't get to say hi to everybody. It's one of those days. It's one of those days. Again, AMD, which pretty much we had the bigger double from before, which pretty much hit it. If you start getting AMD really has to start breaking above about 112 before I'd be interested in the bull case. And the next target would be 116.21. And then between 116.21 to 120.36, I'd be watching for a rollover area. And also, and that's based off where the current harmonics are. So, and you see, we had a couple key, we had a gap open above that level, which wasn't that level yet because back at that time it was really this level. But if you see, when we sold off, between the 50 and the 62.5, we got spike in, rollover, gap open, rollover. Then we came down, made slightly new lows. Then we made lows. And now, so this would be a key area. I'd be watching for another rollover in AMD. Now, you got some cycles turning up on the daily, cycles still moving up on the weekly. So you could see a run up, but look at the weekly resistance. Look at the weekly resistance above. Look at the harmonic where it lines up with the weekly resistance. Above 116.21. Pop, sold back down. Pop, sold back down. So if it gets above this 116.21 on any pop, I would be looking to aggressively raise stops. Is there a great short pattern just here? No. We'd really have to start breaking back down below roughly at this point. Roughly at this point, it would be this prior key resistance from back in March, confirmed by this close or this gap open reversal on the 25th of August. So I'd really need it to get below the 101 before I'd start really getting interested in a short, unless it moves higher and setting up a short pattern higher, which there is no short pattern higher. Apple has a mini double bottom. That's the only minor bullish case for Apple. That's it. If Apple starts breaking below this 172 area, not good. Not good for Apple. I could see it easily returning to the 200. But that has not happened yet. The only bullish case right now, you got cycles at the bottom. There are a couple potential front run patterns, but the bigger patterns if it gets back above 180.30. Who else do we have? Who else do we have? Coco, hey, all-time highs are coming from Coco. Walmart, hey Ken, Walmart. Walmart, again, it's broken out. Let's go to that weekly. Walmart has broken out. Now the key support is coming in back at 162, the longer term support in the daily rotation zone, and the minor support level is roughly about 163. So you got a little toppy here with the rollover. It's gone on a run. If we do get a rotation back into some mega caps for the next few days, you could see the easy Walmart pullback, but the trend is still higher. The trend is still higher. So I would not be looking for, there's no even aggressive short pattern yet. There's no aggressive short pattern yet. My perspective, be watching for a pullback, and then a rotation back up. And the roughly that 50% harmonic is right by that 163 major support level. Where else do we have? Hold on. Hey, Christoph. Oh boy, you're the no news. It's okay, Sterling. Your job. You're busy. You're the only manager in your department. Well, oh boy. Make your team tune into the stream. Do we have? Yeah, I got Apple. How do I normally structure trailing stops when doubles have hit the second target? That I do not have a strong. It's really case by case dependent. For example, with AAL, which Sterling's been on this one for a while. What I would look here, if I'm into, and I'd be shooting for these lower price targets of 1275 longer term. So I'd be using, if I was being aggressive, if it started getting above 1370 this high, if I was aggressive, and it all depends on your time frame, 1373 on a closing basis would be, all right, that would be the most aggressive stop I'd use. Honestly, I'd use a stop somewhere still above the daily rotation zone and above about 1425, 1427. Why? Because if you came above here, you could do a partial gap fill. You see here that we still, even if it did a partial gap fill, you have the prior resistance. I would give it to this personally because if, being in it from all the way up here, there's still a fair amount of juice you could get out of this trade. So I wouldn't mind if it popped up here. So personally, my stop would be up here. Okay? Because if it got up there, you take a look. You got up there, you could be doing a retracement back to the weekly rotation zone then. And would I want to, then my reward to risk to eke out this much, I'm not risking returning that much. But anywhere up through here would be fine. You're welcome, Eric. So, did I miss something else in here? What is what's LLY? LL. Did you said ultra short, but I mean Eli Lilly would be well, I'd be watching for a pullback in that. Hold on, let me take a look at something with AAL again. Yeah. Yep. I just wanted to double check something. That we were on the 4 hour. Here's the daily. Sorry, I was looking at the 4 hour instead of daily, but it doesn't change much. So you look at your daily, if you wanted to stop on 1390, yeah, I really wouldn't be concerned if it started even getting to 1394 because you got the daily rotation zone coming down. And you see here, triggered daily rotation zone, daily rotation zone, daily rotation zone, daily rotation zone, spike in the daily rotation zone. So would this worry me? No. Wouldn't worry me at all. All right, with that, let's just take a quick glance at the open. Looks like we still got some strength into the open. Let me adjust the chart. All right, 45, 47. It's the area I'll be watching straight into the open. And pulling back, if it pulls back even about 45.40 to about 45.39, that's the first little pullback area. Let's just check with the tick. The tick, actually a pretty strong tick. Pretty strong tick. So I'm going to be watching after the tick pulls back, the secondary reaction in the tick to see if it remains strong or if that's just some opening rush in buying and then it can't hold up. All right, with that, thank you for everybody for tuning in. We'll be back hopefully tomorrow morning. I shall talk to everyone then. Bye for now.